Hey guys, and welcome to what's going to be more of a first impressions video rather than an actual review. This is mainly since the VK3002D here, I've only played one game in it, and it was my Ace Tanker game. So I'm kind of keeping my meme stats on this, and also I feel that maybe using a top tier game isn't the best demonstration of this tank's abilities. Definitely not show how this thing can do as a whole. So I'm just gonna commentate on this match for you guys and show you and basically tell you what I think of this tank. I'll quickly go over what this tank is first though. And basically this tank is it takes what the Panther does and gives it an alternative gun. This tank is more mobile than the Panther. It has the same turret. It's got better frontal armor, and instead of the long 75mm gun, you get the short 88, which you will have used before on the VK3001P and on the VK3601H, the tier 6 medium and heavy tanks respectively. And in fact, you can see in the background there VK3001P on my team. Except on this tank, the gun handling seems to be quite a bit better than on both of those two tanks. The DPM certainly is. With the other two tanks, you're looking about 6.3 seconds reload, whereas this is is a tiny bit above 5 seconds. So the rate of fire is very nice for a 220 alpha gun. The pen is fairly average for a tier 7 medium, and in fact tier 6 as well. Decent slug of hit points, 1250. Not quite as high as the Panther's 1300, but you know, you're getting a more mobile tank that trades better and has better armor. So you've got that going for you. It's got the same base view range as the Panther of 380 meters, and pretty much all I've got to say on this thing before I get into the match. So I'm just going to switch to fixed cam so you can see what I was doing in this match. Obviously, this being the first match I ever played in this tank, we are top tier. Like you will often find when you buy a tank, the first game that you play will more often than not be this matchmaking. Top tier at the very least, be it top tier 357 or 510. So we're here on airfield. I figured that I'm a top tier medium. I'm gonna go into the middle and see what I can spot. Maybe pick off one of the the light tank, or put a shot into one of the mediums. And this is what I kind of do in the 30 seconds before the game actually starts and you start moving around. This is kind of what I like to do. I kind of start thinking about where I want to go before I've even moved my tank. So, like I say, this tank has a pretty damn nice rate of fire on that 88mm gun. Definitely one of the better tanks for a, I would say, higher caliber gun that's a medium tank at tier 7. But it's definitely, that rate of fire will definitely stand you in good stead when you're fighting your own tier, because 220 alpha with a 5-second reload is nothing to be relaxed about if you're fighting it, because your health will disappear quickly if you allow this thing to just put shot after shot into you. It does take tanks down quicker than the Panther, and the main reason for that is because the Panther's 135 alpha, you won't have as many situations where you can keep the gun firing as you might expect. And while in my last video, the Panther review, I did say that the Panther will take targets down quickly if it's allowed to keep firing, well, this thing will do it most situations quicker, purely because of the higher alpha and the fact that it can trade far better. And in fact, you're going to see that fairly soon, just how quickly we can start taking tanks down as we relocate over here to help our AT-15A, as we have just noticed that this side is going down, and generally on airfield, if you lose the north half of the map, so from the E line upwards, if you lose that, generally you're you're kind of fucked. So of course we come up against one of our tier 7 medium tank contemporaries, the P43 Terror. Now he doesn't have amazing armor either. In fact, I'd say it's fairly comparable to that of the VK3002D. Both tanks have comparable mobility and pen, except he gets 20 more alpha and a much longer reload. The handling on this gun, like I say, is not too bad. You saw we got a couple of good shots into his lower plate and he missed his shot, well, his shot bounced. And we're just going to take a couple of hits from the M4 here just to make sure the P43 dies. Just taking down a top tier medium is very important, and of course we bounce a couple of shots from the M4 because that 128mm of pen is not going to be much of a challenge for this gun. Now we're going to go after this T-34A5M. We can't really have a tank with as high DPM as that staying alive. And not only do we get a shot into him, but our RT is paying attention, and so are our campers, and so he gets tracked by the RT and he's now stuck. So we finish him off. And the scores have gone from 4-7 to 6-7 in a very short time. So now we've just got this KV-85. He has fired, so even though we miss our shot there, we know he's got a very long reload with that 122 that he is using. By the way, you should probably not be using because it's very inaccurate on that tank, and it has a very long reload, comparable to the KV-2's 152. So we quite easily finish him off. Now we see the Panther 4H there, but he's not a problem at the moment. Instead, we've got to turn our attention first to this KV-1, since that 57mm is kind of annoying. So while the KV-1 has retreated behind the rock, we take the opportunity to blind fire the Panther 4 because he is sitting in an obvious position, and of course, as you can see, we did hit him. But now we're just going to take the time to finish off this KV-1. But we set him on fire, artillery finishes him off, we check for the M7 who was last spotted up here, and he is not here, so that gives us an opportunity to have a look around. Well, actually, no, it did turn out that he was up here, but he was trying to run away. VK3002M bounces off our side armor. We try and put a shot into the T-3485M, but auto-aiming there was maybe not the best choice, as we didn't have... It turns out we didn't have a full shot, despite having the silhouette. So now we're just going to move around and deal with that Panzer 4H. We're going to put him out of his misery. And you will see that the frontal armor on this thing can quite easily deal with lower tiers, although he does get a shot into our side there, as I was not actually expecting him to be exactly where he was last spotted. But, you know, lower tiers and all that, so we're just going to shoot him again. And he decides that the best course of action is just to sit there and, well, yeah. He does put a shot into our lower plate, which does show that he does know how to adapt slightly, but, yeah, again, we're not too worried about that. Although he does let our artillery shoot us, which... we had the hit points to deal with it, maybe not the best decision to sit still. It actually looks like he must have high rolled on pen, because that wasn't the lower plate. You saw me looking at where he might have penned, and it looked like it hit the left of the upper plate, which would have been about 130, 140 effective. So it looks like he high rolled on pen, if not max rolled. Anyway, that aside, we finish off the artillery. There's just 2 tanks left. Currently we're on a top gun, though we're going to do more than that, boys. We're going to do more than that. We see a tree falling, so we know immediately someone is still in the town. Obviously, the last tank spotted in the town was the VK3002M, so we're going to go after him. There he is. He's one shot. Easy clean up there. Now, the P43 has not been spotted in quite a while, so we start having a quick look around for him. Now, it turns out that he was actually in the town, and he is not actually where he was last spotted, so obviously at this point we're just looking around. So I'm going to quickly speed this up, because this is mostly me and my team looking around for him. And then the VK3001P there, he's going to be the one to spot him. He's going to proxy him. There he is. So now we do have the chance of a Bradley's here. We give him a bit of a boop. VK shoots him, and then we finish him off for the Radley Walters. So that game was, of course, our ace tanker. First match played in the tank. So that felt pretty good. Of course, we didn't need to fire any APCR that match, so that was pretty nice as well, stuck to the AP. So that was 3,500 damage, Ace Tanker, Radley Walters, High Caliber of course, Top Gun, and in fact Steel Wall. And that was base XP of 1492, and we made 41,000 credits profit because we didn't really need to... Well, because we didn't spend any money on consumables. That's because I had some spares in the depot. But that match, we would probably have run a loss otherwise. But generally, if you're using your small repair kits, this kind of match would be a profit. Even if you were to run food, and as long as you ran your small repair kit and med kit, you would still make a profit that match, as long as you had premium. And it turns out we took 16 shots, 10 of those bounced, 6 of those were, in fact, 1 was artillery, and then there was a couple from the KV-1 and a couple from the Panzer IV. Blocked 1240 damage, and like I say, 22 shots fired, 20 hit. The 2 that didn't hit were mostly my own misses, like my own fault, like on the T-34-85M. Anyway, that out the side. I really do feel like this is a pretty decent Tier 7 medium. I'm yet to play it more. I don't yet know if I will. Mainly because I kind of want to keep the meme stats on it. Like, having that kind of match as your first one kind of makes the stats kind of silly, which I feel is a bit of a laugh, but you never know. I might play this thing, I might 3-mark it. Who knows? Anyway, guys, that's all from me for this one. Hope you enjoyed this first impressions video, and let me know if you want any more like this, or if you prefer the more in-depth review sort of video. Anyway, guys, I will catch you on the next one.